For that, I want to ask you about Kelee Ringo. Rick and I have talked him to death, the cornerback out of Georgia, almost 6'2", 207, ran a 4.36. Despite all those numbers, he didn't move at all after the combine. In fact, he started to slip a little more. He was first-round conversation, top 10 conversation during the fall. His game didn't match those expectations. Why does he continue to fall?
He's stiff. That's the issue for Kelee. And Ryan, you remember I talked to you about this before his season was over. I felt like he's a better safety than anything. But just watching him throughout the year at Georgia, I'm like, as a corner, having straight line speed is great. That's a great thing to have. But being able to move, you know what I mean? Bend your knees and move, that's something that he struggles with. And that's where he lost a lot of stock when you talk about looking at the position drills from what we saw at the combine and pro days. And then we watch Kelee, he doesn't seem to be a natural in his pedal. He doesn't seem to be a natural in his space, opening up. His hips are stiff. He plays a little too high from time to time, and that will get exposed consistently on the next level. I love the athleticism. 6'2", over 200 pounds, 4'3". That's great. But then when you turn on the tape and watch him, especially watch him individually in shorts, you're like, wait a minute. He's not as polished as you would like him to be, especially having the first-round consideration that he had throughout his career in Athens. Now, if there's a coach that can get him to hone into his skills, to become better in his fundamentals, play with low pad level, I think he can be exceptionally well a gifted corner. But because of the stiffness, I think you put him in space. You put him in a post. You know what I mean? You allow him to use his God-given ability with his speed to be able to go sideline to sideline, hash to hash. But if you're taking him in the first round, you better have a staff, a defensive back staff that can get him to be lower, to be more fluid with his hips, because if he's not able to improve that skill set, it's going to be a tough task being able to cover some of those small, quick, fast, big receivers that he will see Sunday in and Sunday out.
The 2 points to that, B-Mac, is one, that coach better have a can of oil because this guy is not going to get any looser. I think if you're ankle stiff, if you're stiff through, I don't think that's correctable with coaching. You can maybe try to lower his pad level, but to me, either you're stiff or you're not stiff. Like when people compared me to my brother wasn't stiff. I was stiff as a board. I mean, they invented when I ran down on kickoffs during training camp in my mesh jersey because I couldn't even get a jersey for preseason games. They invented the net, so I wouldn't run out of the stadium. So the net that goes up in the back to catch they go, well, let's lower it because Rick's coming down on kickoff and he can't stop. So I just run right into the freaking net.
Like you laid it on an aircraft carrier.
And the other thing, if you're going to move to safety, one of the concerns and things we always talked about, we did it with Cam Bynum from Cal when we drafted him, a corner out of Cal 2 years ago that we moved to safety. They have to be very instinctive and they have to be able to communicate on the back end and they have to be extremely intelligent. When we looked at all our analytics, the one thing that stuck out about safeties, they were the smartest guys on the defensive side of the ball besides middle linebackers because they have to be able to identify and adjust coverages, and you know this. But intelligence was a critical factor on us determining whether a corner can actually move over to safety.
So I'm looking at the pro day results of over 1,000 players, and the cornerbacks is a long list too. Not surprisingly, Kelee Ringo's 3-cone, which measures your ability, your change of direction, your start stop, 7.21 seconds, and that doesn't mean anything until you compare it to the other cornerbacks, and it ranks about 50th just among everyone on the pro day circuit. Rick, I will give you one guess. Who is number one? It's one of your favorite dudes. It has been for a while.
That's in stiffness?
No, who has the best 3-cone? Who is the oiliest, if you will, the most fluid hips?
I think I know this one answer.
Go ahead, B-Mac. He's got
Emmanuel Forbes.
B-Mac, you're not going to believe when I tell you. Rick, this is your dude.
Riley Moss.
Riley Moss has the best 3-cone of anybody at the pro day who did a pro day, 6'6". So he's more than a half second faster than Kelee Ringo in his 3-cone.
Wow.
And
I almost threw him up there in the sleeper list because no one's talking about him either.
Pete wants to move to safety.
That would have been a good choice.
Yeah. Right. All right, so let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll go over our top 5, and we'll go through a little quicker here because we spent a lot of time on the pre-top 5. But that's all right. We'll talk cornerbacks right after this.